Hi folks, it's Don Franceschi, and I wanted to shoot this quick video because I have something exciting to share. And what is that exciting news? It's that my second book has recently come out on Amazon. From Awful to Awesome, Speaking Safety Successfully. Now you might be wondering, well, what do you mean speaking safety successfully? What kind of safety are we talking about here? Well, on the front cover, the safety hard hat and gloves and eye protection, etc., probably giving you a hint. And on the back cover, I totally make it obvious what kind of safety I'm speaking about. Work safety. And on the back, next to my author photo, I have a little description, brief description of the book. Do you know how to prepare, structure, and deliver an effective safety presentation? The stakes are too high to just wing it. Man, is that true. Let Don Franceschi provide you the tools you need to have the impact you want with your audience. Let's save the world one effective safety presentation at a time. And also feel very honored that I got a great testimonial from Len Welsh, the former chief of Cal OSHA. And he writes, safety as an integrated part of work operations is the only kind of safety that really works. Safety depends on folks maintaining active interest and presence in what they do, and this is where being an effective presenter can score big accomplishments. My exhortation to the readers of From Awful to Awesome, Speaking Safety Successfully, is that you take advantage of the many tools you will find here to weave these important safety concepts into your strategies for presenting and sparking dialogue over how to maximize safe, accident-free, and successful business and work practices. And again, that's Len Welsh, the former chief of Cal OSHA. Now, I wanted to share with you the foreword and the introduction to this book, because I think that sets the table for what the book's about, why it's important, and why it was important to me to write it. So let's jump straight to the foreword, and I'll flip through to it. I'll see if I can read it without my reading glasses on here. And this foreword is from Lauren Mayfield, retired Senior Vice President, Safety and Health and Loss Prevention, CSP retired, and a former boss of mine a couple times when I was working with the state of California. Lauren writes in the foreword, "Hey, at the next staff meeting, can you get up and talk about safety at the plant? Oftentimes, nothing strikes more fear in the heart of anyone, much less the safety person, than the thought of having to get up in front of a group of people to speak. Ugh, I hate public speaking. I'm terrible at it. I get so nervous. I know I'm going to fail and be so humiliated." What if, instead, the scenario played out this way? Hey, at the next staff meeting, can you get up and talk about safety at the plant? Your response, absolutely, I would love it. In fact, I've been thinking about asking you for time at the next meeting just for that reason. How long do I have? What do you need? And the planning begins. Wouldn't you much rather be the player in the second scenario? Well, it is possible. As a safety professional with decades of experience and scores of safety presentations under his belt, Don has put together a very well-organized guide to preparing for and giving effective presentations with a safety emphasis. As Don relates, he learned the hard way through trial and error, building upon his experiences to become an award-winning speaker and sought-after trainer. He put the sweat equity in, quite literally. That's the truth. So you may be thinking, great, but I bet he hasn't had to deal with the situations I have. Well, I can tell you from being a colleague of his for 20 years that I bet he has. From having to create presentations in very short periods of time to giving them in all environments, on a construction job site, in a restaurant kitchen, on a dirty shop floor, in a huge warehouse, outside in an agricultural field. He has seen it all. And over the years, his acumen increased such that his audiences took away valuable information and retained it, which is exactly what a safety professional wants, right? And by doing that, he has helped workers go home safely at the end of the day to their families. That's compelling. To be honest, I wish I had a book like this when I was a fledgling safety professional. it would have helped me avoid so many of the pitfalls that can befall a public speaker. For example, his recipe for pre-planning the presentation can help to calm the jitters a speaker faces when getting up in front of a crowd. The ideas he puts forth about connecting with an audience, understanding that there's a relationship between the speaker and the audience, and creating compelling, memorable content that will stay with the audience are just a few of the valuable suggestions you can use. I have found through my 3 decades plus of public speaking experiences, from teaching small groups to groups of over 2,000, that the principles are the same and are successful. Further, Don also addresses current technologies by including ideas for creating effective visual presentations. Creating effective virtual presentations. The explosion of this delivery method over the last few years has shown that it is here to stay, and we need to be able to adapt to this way of teaching and training. This can be a very challenging way to get information across, yet Don has sound advice for this platform as well. Another aspect of this book is that you not only learn from Don, but also from other safety professionals and their experiences. In this book, Don spent countless hours, interviewing leaders in the safety field to understand and learn from their public speaking experiences as well. This brings to you the added benefit of a collective knowledge in the field. Think of giving a presentation to a group like giving them a gift. You are giving them the benefit of your expertise in the safety arena. When you do that by using this book's guidance, you are sure to connect with your audience, deliver life-saving information that is retained, and helped to make the workplace safer one presentation at a time. You can do it. Again, that was from Lauren Mayfield, retired Senior Vice President, Safety and Health and Loss Prevention, CSP retired, ARM, extremely knowledgeable safety expert, and a wonderful safety speaker. I've heard her speak many times. Thank you, Lauren, for that. So that was the foreword. And now I'm going to read off to you the introduction to the book. And I think this, again, sets the stage for a little bit about the book and why it's important to me and why I believe it should be important to you. Introduction. Imagine this hypothetical situation. It's November 21st, 2014. You are driving your green 2002 Toyota Camry in the financial district of San Francisco. It's a typical weather day that Friday morning. Temperature in the upper 50s, mostly cloudy with a slight breeze. You know what? I'm going to stop for just a second and put this glasses on because I'm 61 now and I'm having trouble reading it. So just to backtrack, it's November 21st, 2014. You're driving your green 2002 Toyota Camry in the financial district of San Francisco. Typical weather day that Friday morning. Temperature in the upper 50s, mostly cloudy with a slight breeze. Around 10 a.m., as you are driving past the intersection of California and Montgomery Streets, suddenly your car almost explodes all around you. The car roof is crushed on the front passenger side and the rear seats behind you. In shock, you realize that something has landed on your Camry. As you shakily get out, you realize that what crushed your car is the moaning man lying on the road next to you. Bystanders quickly gather to offer aid to the injured man, call 911, and relay what happened. The man had fallen from the roof of the 11-story building you had been driving by, screaming on the way down, and had crashed onto the roof of your car. You are not injured, and while the faller is badly hurt, he is still alive. Crazy hypothetical situation, right? Well, as you probably guessed, this isn't hypothetical. It actually happened. The man who fell was a window washer who really was working on the roof of that 11-story building on 400 Montgomery when he landed on that green 2002 Toyota Camry driving far below him. I don't know what criteria is used to designate an event as a miracle, but this event totally qualifies as far as I'm concerned. If the window washer had fallen a second or two earlier or later, he would have missed the car that took the brunt of his fall and he would have landed on the pavement. Almost certain death. If the driver hadn't been in the exact spot that he was, he likely would have been crushed to death when the window washer landed on his Toyota Camry. A double miracle. At this point, you are probably wondering the obvious question, why did he fall? Cal OSHA did an investigation and determined that the window washer was in the process of moving an extension cord of a suspended scaffold around the corner of the building. At some point during this process, while he was near the edge of the roof, he disconnected the lanyard of his fall protection equipment from an anchor point. It was then that he lost his balance and fell over the edge. The reason I'm sharing this story and why it resonates so much for me is because it's a reminder that safety miracles do occasionally happen, but employees shouldn't count on a miracle keeping them from getting hurt or killed on the job. If you are a business owner, or supervisor or manager, or lead person, or safety officer, or safety consultant, basically anyone who speaks on safety, then you are the person that folks should count on to help them prevent getting hurt or killed on the job. The safety information that you provide is an essential component for creating a safe work environment, which is why it is so critical that your safety presentations, the workshops, trainings, conferences, and meetings are delivered in the most effective way possible. This book provides the tools, tips, and techniques that will help you make a difference. At this point, you might be wondering, why should I listen to you? Fair question. In the About the Author section, I go into my relevant safety and professional skills experience if you are interested. But that section doesn't really explain my why. Why was I so driven to write this book? I recently shared the answer to that question in a workshop, and below is an excerpt from the talk where I told the audience exactly why this topic means so much to me. I still remember the first and worst presentation that I ever gave. I was a rookie safety representative for State Compensation Insurance Fund. Our main job duty was to meet with policyholders and make recommendations on how they could improve their safety programs. This involved conferences, inspections, and occasionally safety presentations. As part of my initial training, I had tagged along with several of my coworkers and observed them in action as they performed these conferences, inspections, and safety presentations. Every safety presentation I observed was remarkably similar. They lasted about 15 minutes. They were for small groups of around 10 people and usually held in a small conference room. The audiences were uniformly friendly and enthusiastic. Based on my observations, I made what seemed a logical assumption, that these presentations were no big deal. When our department received a request for an after-hours safety presentation on kitchen safety, even though I was a green rookie, I volunteered. I mean, what could go wrong? I wish you could have been with me that night. The presentation was scheduled for 7 p.m. It was dark. It was pouring down rain, and I was hopelessly lost in West Sonoma County, California. The clock on the car's dashboard was a constant reminder that I was running out of time. Sweat was beading up on my forehead and my heart was pounding. I did not want to be late for that first presentation. Finally, with just minutes to spare, I found the correct building. In a very unsafe manner, I semi-skidded into a gravel parking area and jumped out of the car. Did I mention that it was just pouring? I popped the trunk to get all my presentation equipment and materials and ran to the building's large oak front door. With my arms full, I struggled with the door and was finally able to fling it open. Have you ever been surprised? I mean, really surprised? It wasn't a small conference room. It was a huge hall. There weren't 10 people waiting for me. Instead, there were 104 pairs of eyes staring at me in complete silence. Uh-oh. I thought I was nervous before, but I was over the top nervous now. I must have been quite a sight. I was completely drenched, and my hair was plastered down on my head. As I carried my equipment and materials inside, my shoes made a loud, squishy, squeaky noise every step. As I set up my overhead projector, somehow managing to avoid electrocuting myself as I plugged it in, I caught a glimpse of myself in a mirror on the sidewall. Because of the temperature in the room, steam was coming off of my body. This was awful. I was positive the audience could see my heart beating through my drenched shirt. My hands were shaking so badly that I could barely place the first transparency on the overhead projector. I was so nervous that I couldn't even look my audience in the eye. With a mouth that was suddenly bone dry and a throat that was feeling more constricted every second, I finally managed to croak out in a very shaky voice, "I'm Don Franceschi, and I'm your safety representative." That's as far as I got. Because at that moment, a young lady in the front row turned to the young lady next to her and in a very loud stage whisper said, "Man, he's really nervous, isn't he?" I wanted to die. As I looked at the floor, I prayed that it would open up, swallow me up, and put me out of my misery. I'm embarrassed to admit that the presentation actually went downhill from there. That was over 30 years ago, but I still remember that awful experience like it was just yesterday. What a disaster. That night I didn't sleep very well. I was embarrassed, humiliated, and my confidence took a major hit. But you know what bothered me the most? I realized that I'd been given an opportunity to relay my information and make a positive impact on that company's safety program, but I squandered that opportunity. I had 104 people in my audience, and I didn't deliver. What a waste! I vowed that I would make this a learning experience and do much better in the future. With a lot of hard work and effort and training and experience, I did get much better. Don't get me wrong, to this day I still have presentations that don't go as well as I would have liked, but my overall batting average is now pretty good, and I managed to avoid an epic disaster like that first safety presentation was. That's my why I was driven to write this book. I don't want you to squander your opportunities to make a positive impact with your audiences regarding safety. And even though I have a lot of experience giving safety presentations, I don't have all the answers. No individual does. So in addition to my personal experience, I've spoken with numerous folks that are experts in safety and safety presenting to also provide their experience, knowledge, and perspectives, which I've included in this book. These tools, tips, and techniques in the pages that follow are the culmination of all that information that will help you speak safety successfully. Let's get started. So I just wanted to share that foreword and the introduction for this book. Again, if you are a safety speaker, whether you're an owner of a business, supervisor, manager, safety coordinator, safety officer, safety consultant, you speak about workplace safety and you'd like to do it more effectively, then this book can help. I'll have a link down below where on Amazon you could check it out, and I hope you find it helpful. The whole goal is to help folks get home safe to their families every night. Thank you for listening to this long video, and take care and be safe out there.